So today's video is something quite unusual. I'm actually going to work on my game. I'm going to let you inside my head on what I think about. I'm going to show you a cool bit of kit that I use in my coaching and on my game to get some good feedback to help you, and more importantly for this video, me, be the best I can. Okay, so when I'm working on my golf swing, I always like to aim at target, even though I'm not trying to hit the straight shot, and just try and get a little bit of feedback as to what's going on with the shot. And that would be pretty typical for me. We can see low point a little bit ahead, club path from the inside, face 1 degree closed, launching 16.4, which I love, and 169 carry. Now, obviously if I could do that every time, I wouldn't need to do this video. But historically for me, what tends to happen is that little soft draw tends to become a bit more exaggerated, or maybe even starts becoming a little bit of a push out to the right. So again, let's hit another one. Right, that would be a little bit more of the one I'd be worried about. And we can see there, path still great, 5.6 on the inside. Club face 4.4 degrees closed, launched a bit lower. Distance is still good, but maybe a little bit more curved than I would like to see. So I know with me, it's that ability to deliver that club face kind of round about where I need it to be. And what I tend to see with me is that if there's a poor one, that club face tends to get a bit more closed at impact. Now, obviously not everybody has access to TrackMan. And even though I know the club face is more closed, sometimes it's trying to match a feel of what's actually happening in my golf swing with what's the delivery of the club is. So that's where for me, I'll practice with HackMotion. So a little sensor that goes on your wrist and your glove and very much helps us monitor how that wrist is during the backswing, at the top of the backswing, and kind of more importantly for me, normally where we are at impact. So if we look at my numbers there, we can see at address, I had 22 degrees. At the top of the swing, I was still a little bit cupped, but at impact, I had lots and lots of bow to the wrist, and that's really getting that club face closed. Now, I definitely think this is something that over the years, to maybe get a bit more shaft lean into the golf ball, I've ended up doing more and more of that, which obviously closes that club face. And if I was way ahead, that would square it up. Now, the reason I really like HackMotion is I can then go onto there and say, right, what I'd like to see now is I want some audio feedback and I want impact, because that's definitely the area I'm not quite as good. And when we turn that up, we can hear that noise. So what I would do, and this is simply you can work on the top or impact, is I would swing to the top where I know I'm going to be good for the noise, but down into impact, I can feel that would be too exaggerated. So if I come back down, that feels quite different, I think, to me. Maybe it doesn't feel like my hands are as far forward. And then the nice thing is you can obviously get that audio feedback. So you get there. Okay, so now I can understand the feel. Now the feelings are really important, but everyone's learning styles are a little bit different, and I'm quite a visual learner, so some feedback visually is good there, but also the image in my head of how I create that feel is important. And I would definitely say for where I would normally try to get to, that's too exaggerated, whereas you can see there a lot of shaft lean and not a straight line up the shaft and the arm, whereas actually what this is telling me is if that was more of one continual line up there, that club face would be better and I'd have the shaft lean I want with a squarer club face. So it's great practicing something statically, but unfortunately I don't swing the club at 0 mile an hour. Not far off, but so I'm going to aim straight, replicate that feeling, and then see if I can get it during the actual swing. Okay, so we can see there, I was definitely still too much that way at impact. So for me there, the hands would have been too far ahead. So again, I've got to try and feel that the arm and the shaft are in that nice straight line as I hit the ball. I felt better. And we can see there, in range, remarkably the top and impact were both good. So, and it's funny, you look at TrackMan there, it was a much better shape of shot, less shape, little bit more distance, but all in all there, I can aim more at target and not see as much curve. So again, the key for me is not really working at address. Feel at the top I'm pretty decent, but that's where I want to feel. Feel straight away. That's too exaggerated. Get everything feeling in that straight line. So again, then the key is repetition, isn't it? Can I stand up there? So we can see impact was good. You can see on TrackMan the ball just leaking a little bit out to the right, club face a little bit open. And we'd expect that, maybe not exactly controlling that how I want, but straight away I know that that's going to be a more neutral flight. And even the shot on TrackMan there didn't curve a lot. It just set off a little bit right and stayed there. So again, rehearse, get the feedback, and then execute. And we can see another one. Really good at impact. We can see now path very, very neutral, club face very, very neutral, great distance at 176, and again, less curve. Now, there's not an exact set rule for everybody. And what you'll see with some golfers is they'll have a lot of shape at address, and they'll have a lot of shape still at the top of the backswing. Then to try and get back to there, there's a lot needs to change. So they might need, and you might need, to work on feeling a different place at the top. If you can, then you might be able to maintain that in the downswing. But anytime you can be as few moving parts as possible in the golf swing, because there's lots of bits moving, it's always going to be that little bit easier to be consistent. So again, I know I'm decent at address. That definitely feels different to normal. I'd be trying to get more there. And like I said, when I'm good, it's great. Just feel a little bit of inconsistency. And in my defense, I don't work on my game a lot. Now, people say practice makes perfect. Remember, perfect practice makes perfect. So if you're going to work on something, try and make sure your feedback's as good as possible so that you start getting the best results and the most consistent results. So again, that feels much easier to get to now. Not quite at impact, but again, a little bit closer with the feedback from HackMotion. And we can definitely see a much more neutral delivery of the golf club. Now again, I would say I'm not chasing 0-0, I'm never looking for that, but I'm just looking for my path and face numbers not to be too big, so there's not lots of curve to the golf ball. Curve's not a bad thing, but if you can just take a little bit off, okay, and then repeat. And again, we can see that one absolutely in range. We can see a nice neutral delivery with TrackMan. And I'll be honest, I prefer nowadays maybe seeing just a little baby fade as opposed to that swingy draw. Everyone's different with preference. If you've sliced it, you probably quite like seeing the draw. But if you're going to work on your golf swing, it's really important that you get the proper feedback so that you can work on the right things and make sure you're getting better, not worse. And for me, part of my coaching is using HackMotion, but also part of my own game, helping me be more consistent in the right areas, loving that sound for the feedback and making sure that the consistent results are there much more often.